we're finding now is the term video game almost doesn't apply anymore. We've become interactive entertainment. We're really looked at on par with the movie industry. We've certainly felt the need to bring our cinematics, our gaming experience, our stories to the level of what people expect when they watch a movie. You know, really get immersed in this world. At the same time, they also don't want to be like, oh, I just had a lot of fun shooting stuff, now I got to put the controller down for 30 seconds and watch a movie. I think they really kind of want to stay involved, and that's why we really kind of felt like, well, I think we can tell the story with some of the movies, but also with these little opportunities to get some story across to you, but not make you feel like you need to put the controller down. So we have two forms of cinematics. We have our full rendered movies. And then we also have our in-game cinematics, the Hail Visions, which basically stay in first person to try to keep the player immersed in the game.
Hail, find that breach! Brace for impact!
From an animation standpoint, the big thing that we wanted to focus on with Resistance 2 was bringing the movement to a much more realistic experience.
Get off me!
Easy, Sergeant! It's harmless.
We could use motion capture to get all of our human and realistic soldier animations done, and it really let the animators kind of focus on doing the really keyframe creature animation that we have.
Basically, motion capture works. We have a series of cameras. Our stage has about 88 cameras, and those cameras pick up markers that we put all over the body. Those bodies then get translated into the computer and applied to a skeleton, which we later use in the game.
Our tendency, coming from our cartoonist background, was to want to continue to do keyframe animation. And while we managed to do that on the first game, we realized how much work it really was. So the biggest advantage was definitely time saving. In animation, there's nothing that I think gets more scrutinized than human movement. Motion capture, you know, you got the guys in the suit, they're doing the realistic movement. We're able to bring that data into our scenes, and with a minimal amount of cleanup on our process, we're getting realistic movement. It really helped us get more story out of our cinematics.
You know, sir, you don't have to do this. If we get you to Grand Rapids, they might be able to do something.
We found as we were working on Resistance that we needed additional help with the mocap process. So we gave a call down to the San Diego Visual Arts Group, and they offered a lot more than what we were initially looking for. Mike introduced us to the Intersense camera, which became a huge part of our cinematics.
The Intersense camera is a complement to the motion capture in that we take the motion capture of the characters from the stage, put it into a set, and we use this physical camera in a virtual environment to walk around them and then capture the camera motion. Before, you would sort of decide, here's where my camera is going to be, and the actors would have to hit their marks. Now the beauty is we're capturing the motion capture off the stage, and now you can just keep playing it over and over again and shoot from any angle, real time, over and over until you get the perfect camera move to match the perfect motion capture performance.
Intersense is different from standard mocap as far as if you want to do a handheld motion, you want to do a dolly, a pan, a tilt. It's more instantaneous, just like you would on a film set.
For Resistance 2, we use the Intersense camera to give a more lifelike film quality to all of the cinematics. We were using a lot of handhelds, which is really hard to do if you're animating a camera. It's a lot of subtlety, and it's something that, in the end, you don't really get what you're 100% looking for. I think the Intersense is making developers' lives easier because we can do cameras real time in that environment, whereas an animator, it might take them a day or 2 days to do that same move.
Now, the camera becomes a part of the story, where before there was a disconnect where the camera really wasn't tied into the dialogue or tied into a reaction shot or tied into the character.
Quit yapping and land already! You want to fly this thing? Be my guest!
Resistance 2 is the first game to be using this technology. I do think this is going to be a trend that is used in games because I think that the results speak for themselves. I think that the quality of the camera work and the cinematography that is happening in this game will probably set a precedence for all games to come.
It's just like, I mean, I was blown away with what you can do with that camera, and it really got us excited and almost starting to think differently about how we wanted to approach our cinematics. You know, Mike's been working with the Intersense camera for years. Sony used it in their film division, and so he brought it to the games. And I think for us to have the opportunity to really be one of the first titles to use this technology in the games is a fantastic opportunity, and we're really excited about what we can do, not only on Resistance 2, but going forward with it as a tool for our cinematics.
Resistance 2 is a sequel to Resistance Fall of Man. And our goal with this one was to extend the story significantly so that we answered a lot of questions about who Nathan Hale is, who the Chimera are, why they're here.
With Resistance 2, we have 3 big gameplay modes. We have our single-player campaign mode, we have our multiplayer competitive mode, and our co-op mode. They all take place in our alternate history, America of 1953.
Telling stories is tough. Whether it's games, movies, books, whatever.
Let's move. We need to get that bomb within 500 feet of the ship's reactor.
It used to be that story was kind of incidental, and all you had to know was why you were doing what you're doing. But I think these days people want to know that there's an emotional attachment between characters in the story, that you're fighting for something.
I'm taking our squad to Bryce Canyon to extract Malakoff.
This isn't a debate, Lieutenant. You're going back to base, and that's an order.
We really wanted to take the story and make it part of the gameplay. So you're constantly learning about the characters, and you're constantly learning about how things work and where Nathan Hale comes from.
Have you retrieved the viral inhibitors? I'm sorry, sir, there wasn't time.
You're learning what's driving you to move to the next chapter, and you're finding out what's unfolding around the United States as you're fighting your way through it.
Shut it down! It is no longer possible! Which tower activated it? Iceland. It is him, Nathan. It is Daedalus.
We want to show the quintessential David versus Goliath story. We want to show a story in which humanity really is clinging on to the last vestiges of its existence. It's really fighting a good fight and losing, but it's still not giving up.
So, are you gonna make your last hours count? Let's go.
There's a ground convoy waiting to take us into gray territory.
When we began talking about locations in the game, we knew that we had the entire United States to choose from. We decided, okay, let's kind of go to the middle of the country and then head south. So we could pick up the swamps in Louisiana, and then Chicago in the middle of the country, and a farm town in the Midwest. Those were the kind of environments that really struck a chord with us, because not only would they stand out in terms of visuals, but they also really reflected America in the 1950s.
Concept art for kind of the big moments in the game came together fairly early on. And that really sort of influenced and inspired us on the team for everything from the graphic design look of our posters and signs in-game, to the look of industrial design, like the look of appliances, to the architecture, the look of cars. We took all of that, but then juxtaposed it with the alien threat. So we have all of that kind of happy subject matter played up against skies that are black with the Chimera fleet invading the heartland of America.
Viscerality, which was a word that we made up, and the idea behind viscerality was to create a more visceral experience, something that made you believe that you were in the game versus just kind of shooting things. And we did that by increasing our gore level. And you'll notice that this time we are what we call chunking enemies. So you can blow enemies into pieces, and we certainly didn't have that with the Resistance Fall of Man. And for us, it's actually very satisfying. It's fun.
So where are we headed?
Serpa 3. It's a facility near San Francisco.
In the game, we talk a lot about how SERPA, the Special Research Projects Administration, repurposes Chimeran technology for human use.
We've got a crazy arsenal of weapons. I think the programmers and the designers really outdid themselves this time.
And one of my favorite weapons in the game is the spider grenade, constructed from the spit generated by a marauder. It blows up into this puddle of goo that chases around hybrids and covers them and then bursts into flame. And it's a lot of fun.
They are calling to us. Can you hear them?
Resistance 2 is our most ambitious project to date.
I feel like we were a lot less bound by technology limitations this time around.
Keep her steady!
We could really imagine what we wanted to do. We could really kind of color script the game, imagine like the mood that we wanted to get across.
One of our thoughts was, okay, let's make sure that we tell more of the story. Let's give players answers about who Hale is.
How are you feeling, Nathan? Mostly human.
But I think we didn't realize how much we were adding until we got about halfway through production. We all were looking at each other, and a lot of people were looking at me and going, oh my God, what have you gotten us into? We expect that.
How long do I have?
That's just part of pushing the envelope when it comes to game development.
3 hours. If we are lucky.
With Resistance 2, what ended up being the ultimate pillar for us for the game is scale. And when I say scale, I'm talking about scale of the environments, the sheer size of the environments. Scale in terms of the numbers of enemies that you'll see attacking you on the screen. And of course, scale of some of the enemies themselves.
Bigger characters, bigger levels, more lighting, better lighting, bring those elements to the table. And by just focusing on those and not chasing every other element, I think that's what really made making Resistance 2 and its tech possible.
That was only feasible because we had separate teams working on all of these different modes, which of course hooked together. But that created a game of scale that we had never tried before.
Negative, Keystone. Pull back. Do you copy?
Fighting the Leviathan in Chicago was one of those experiences that when we first got it running, we said, yes, that's what we really were going for.
We try to set it up so the player feels like they're right in the heart of the action and really grappling with this huge conflict all the time.
One of the key signatures of an Insomniac game has always been the long view. The ability to see far, and that when you do see far, it looks good, that you see lots of elements, that they're active and detailed.
We try to set things up with compositions that the player is forced to look at in-game that really supports that glimpse into deep space. So for a sequence like the Bay Bridge sequence in R2, we started out by blocking out a composition, kind of getting a good idea of what the basic pieces would be and how they'd fit together. Then we just add on layer upon layer until we get something that's hopefully like really a spectacular moment for the player when they get to experience it for the first time.
We've had a couple of years now to optimize a lot of those different technologies that go into drawing a character, whether it's the animation system, which is probably 8 times faster than it was in Resistance 1 now, or the physics system, which is maybe 3 or 4 times faster than it was in Resistance 1. Our designers can put these shots in where you have 40 guys rushing at you and attacking you, but all those characters are independently doing their AI, and all the effects are running on all of them, and there's no fakery. It was really about finding these new approaches and making them come to life.
In terms of the detail that you'll see in the characters, the detail you'll see in the environments, the sheer amount of stuff going on in the game, all that is because we have been able to tweak our engine over the last couple of years. And now Resistance 2 is the pinnacle for us of what we've been able to achieve on PlayStation 3.
Our vision of Resistance 2, as big as it was, wasn't as big as what we had when we shipped the game.
We really hope that that players kind of just take a minute to take in the enormity of the scene they're looking at.
Capelli!
Hopefully it's something that will stick with people, like after they put the game down, even a couple years later.
All of us here at Insomniac are really satisfied with what we came out with, and we're really happy to have done it.
With Resistance Fall of Man, when we established myresistance.net, the first thing we got was a ton of feedback on the game, both for multiplayer and for single player. And we made some big tweaks to the design based on what players were telling us.
There's so much that's different about Resistance 2. We have online co-op now up to 8 players. We've got 60-player multiplayer. We've got a huge campaign mode, and we're introducing a much richer community aspect.
We knew that we needed to beef up co-op after releasing Resistance Fall of Man. One of the questions we got over and over again is, why didn't you do online co-op? What's your problem? And we said, okay, let's just bite the bullet, go for online co-op, but let's take it a little further. Let's do 8-player online co-op, and it really does stand out as something very different that Resistance 2 offers.
We wanted to give people defined roles and clear dependencies and relationships with their friends. That brought us to developing our 3 core classes, which are the Soldier, who is the primary damage absorber for the group, the Medic, who is responsible for maintaining the team's health and reviving downed team members, and the Spec Ops, who's really responsible for the majority of the damage dealing in the group. 3 classes really create relationships and dependencies that force people to play together. This gives each class the opportunity to shine in specific encounters and really allows people to have their specific moment in the game, drawing out the hero in everyone.
Well, the overall concept was scale. We really needed to bring the multiplayer up to speed with the single player. And to do that, our technology guys really came through for us. We ended up getting focusing on 60-player battles. In Resistance 2, we're offering deathmatch, team deathmatch, and capture the flag, which are kind of the standards. And then we're offering this new mode called skirmish. But big games, you kind of feel a little bit lost. So we really had to bring that sense of intimacy of a small battle into these 60-player huge battles. So we did that with squads. 5 guys, it's a lot easier to get to know them, a lot easier to work together, and then we pit the squads against a rival squad. So we use these smaller squads to coordinate the entire team for larger goals. You just feel like, oh my God, the war is happening and I'm in it.
All online access is free for the PlayStation universe. We really wanted to accommodate both new players and old players alike and really have an immediate sense of accessibility the moment somebody jumps into a game.
We want people to be able to get in fast, have fun, and not feel intimidated by the game. And we do this by, first of all, having a very streamlined lobby. So when you start playing the game, you want to play competitive, find game, and basically you're in. On the other hand, if you want to experiment with all the options, set up a clan, play with your character a little bit, look at your stats, that's all available to you as well. But you don't have to go digging through 100 different menus to actually get into the game.
So the reason community is so important to us at Insomniac is that we really want to develop a relationship with our fans. And similarly, we want our fans to develop relationships with each other. And we just want to create a real community of people who we can trust for feedback that will help us make better games. And that's what the new My Resistance 2.0 is all about.
When we began talking about community with Resistance 2, we really did take a hard look at what websites are doing, because that's where the future of community is. So with Resistance 2, we wanted to start integrating a lot of those social networking features so that players could find folks who have the same interests that they do, folks who they'd like to play with, versus just being thrown into a game with a bunch of random strangers.
We've been thinking about the website since day one, and as a result, there's a lot of crossover, whether it's news, clans, leaderboards, profiles. Those things are gonna talk back and forth between My Resistance and the game itself. What's really been eye-opening as we grow our community is just watching how passionate our fans are, and we just want to put the platform in place and watch people, just experiment and play with it in their own way. When it comes to community and it comes to the game experience in Resistance 2, we want players to get in, log on, and go blow shit up. That's what's important to us. Go have fun.
So we're here today to talk, of course, about Resistance 2, and I'm here with Kevin Groh, who is the lead animator on the project. And we're obviously on a beautiful mocap stage here, motion capture. How is using motion capture changing how you're developing the game?
Well, we found when we were working on Resistance 1, it was very, very difficult to animate realistic human motion. And we were coming off of Ratchet, all we knew was keyframe, so we really thought we can do this. And we did, but at the same time, we realized how much work it really is. And so we wanted to look into mocap as an opportunity to at least get our humans looking really good on Resistance 2 and let us kind of focus on the creature stuff for this game. What we found as we've actually started working with the motion capture is that we can even actually start bringing it into the other realms of how we're working with Resistance. And so now we're actually using mocap on some of our biped creatures as well.
So does this save you a lot of time in development?
Tremendous amount, actually, yeah. To talk about animations on top of animation on top of animation, being able to go through that with the motion capture makes it so much easier.
So tell me exactly how this whole setup works.
The cameras pick up the reflections off of the markers that are on the suit. And, but anyway, they take that small marker data and solve that to the skeletons, and they do a fantastic job of it here. I mean, the articulation when the characters are moving around and being able to pick up that like, the shoulders rolling and all that kind of stuff.
The very human range of motion.
Exactly, and it's phenomenal.
Well, I'm kind of a chicken, so I don't know how much I'm looking forward to seeing a Chimera with real human-like movements. But is there any chance that I can maybe try on one of the pajama suits?
Oh, I think you'd make an excellent Chimera.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see everything in game.
You're very welcome. We're looking forward to it.
Rock on. This is actually pretty comfortable. I'm into it. My little markers that will tell the camera where my movements are. I mean, I've been in a wetsuit before. This is a little bit better than that because at least you're not cold and damp. You're just kind of confined and sweaty instead. The shoes are awesome. I'm rocking the LA Gears. I feel like I'm like, I don't know what year that is, 91? I don't even know. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm ready to do some Chimera action. I don't even know what this is supposed to be. Does that look convincing at all? Don't leave much to the imagination, unfortunately. You know, got some VPLs, visible panty lines, that's always hot. I'm here with Mike and he's showing us the Intersense camera technology. So how does this work with the mocap stuff in the other room?
So we're actually using this for the in-game cinematics. We're using this camera to move in-game and create movies basically like we would in feature film.
It looks very real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of incredible. Did you develop this, or where'd you come up with the technology?
We sort of adapted it from feature film. We took it, the same idea that they're using on films like Beowulf and Monster House, and just applying it here. Resistance 2 is kind of the first game using this technology.
Can I try?
Yeah, here.
Whoa, it's an earthquake! Oh my God, we're tipping over! The boat's sinking! It's like, we're too close! Get away! Yeah, I'm not very good at this. This is why I don't do camera work. I'll leave it to the professionals.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you so much. It really makes it look a lot like a movie.
Yeah, no, that's the idea. Hopefully we'll get much closer to features and close the gap.
Cool, I can't wait to see it implemented in the game.
Thanks.
We're here at SCEA's Motion Capture Studio to talk to some of the team members from Insomniac Games about how they're rewriting history to their own ends. What kind of world are they building for this game, and how much had already been planned before they even started putting pen to paper?
Looks like we woke up the whole goddamn neighborhood!
The game isn't coming out until the fall, so you're obviously still early in the development. What are you guys working on right now?
Oh God, everything. Everything from the story. From the campaign mode to to competitive multiplayer to co-op, and then we're here today. We're doing more mocap for the game. So honestly, every little part is being worked on.
Contact on the right. Smoke him.
So Resistance Fall of Man was a launch title for the PS3, and basically that was Nathan Hale fighting the Chimeran army again, basically in England. And now Resistance 2 is picking up right where Resistance 1 left off.
So there's no gap in time, it just
No,
continues
basically
on
the
story.
game actually starts with the same ending that you saw in Resistance 1, basically Nathan Hale going into a helicopter, being taken away by these mysterious soldiers, and that's where we pick up Resistance 2.
How is the story different, or are you going to be, can you tell us anything?
Yeah,
about the
so basically
storyline?
it's kind of, so basically as I said, it starts right off where the last one, and basically Nathan Hale in that helicopter gets shot down over Iceland, and basically they barely make it out of Iceland because the Chimeran bases come in and attacked, and they survive that, and then basically the game picks up 2 years after the fight in Iceland. Basically Nathan Hale is trained with an elite group called the Sentinels, and he's kind of the leader of them, and basically the fight picks up in San Francisco.
And how is the look of the game going to be different from the original?
I think definitely one thing you're going to notice is the variety of the environments. I mean, we're taking the fight to America, and you're definitely going to see some really diverse environments. I mean, I think when people see Resistance 2, sometimes they're going to go, "Oh wow, that's a sequel," because we have so many different environments. Obviously, I've described San Francisco, and we have some other areas I can't talk about just yet, but are very, very different from San Francisco.
Excellent. And you mentioned the co-op mode and the multiplayer mode. Those are definitely going to be a big draw for the game because you have huge multiplayer in the works. Can you tell me about those?
Yeah, so multiplayer, obviously, you know, we broke some new ground with Resistance Fall of Man. We had 40 players. Now we're jacking that up to 60. So, yeah, and you know, when you hear that number, you're like, oh, how's it all going to work? And we like to call it massive battles, greater intimacy. So within that 60 players, we're going to be breaking up into squads of 4 to 6 people, and then you'll be pitted against another group of 4 to 6, and you'll constantly be pushed and pulled and telling, go do this objective, go attack here, go defend here, and you'll be getting updates on the radio of how the overall battle's going. So even though it is a lot of people, you still have that feeling of intimacy that it's just, you know, us versus this little group amongst a bigger battle.
And the co-op isn't just like 2-player mode, it's got a lot more to it.
So one great thing is it's just not playing through the campaign mode with the Betty. This is a completely separate mode that basically it's a parallel story to what's going on in the campaign mode, and you get the coolest thing is you get to play it with up to 8 people online. So it's a group of 8 guys kind of going fighting the Chimeran forces, which is really cool. And there's different character classes that you play as. It's really, really neat.
Now you mentioned that the original was a launch title, so you guys didn't have too much experience working with the full capabilities of the PS3. How has that timeline changed for you guys now that you have more experience with working with the hardware?
We're working on our 3rd PS3 game, and obviously, you know, we saw how the improvements we made when we went from Resistance to the first Ratchet on PS3. I mean, it was leaps and bounds. I mean, I think from what I've seen, I think it's going to make that just a big of a leap. I think I've seen the technology that's going in there. Can't describe exactly what they are just yet, but I think people will definitely know that this is a 3rd generation PS3 title for sure. I mean, it's as it happens with every generation. As you start working more with the system, you can see what you can get out of it, and the games that will look that much better and run that much better.
Over the next few episodes, we'll be checking back in with the developers at Insomniac to find out how the game goes from big idea to PS3. It's definitely a long, uncertain road ahead, and who knows? A lot of changes can happen over the course of development. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Stay tuned.